Julian Sayin quite literally said to Alabama, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'm taking my talents elsewhere." He's in the portal. Nick Saban out, Sayin out. He's not sticking around for the Kalen DeBoer era. And now a high-profile program in the world of college football is about ready to get the number one QB recruit of 2024. Who are the favorites to land him? And is there a dark horse that could just come out of nowhere and snatch up a QB for their immediate future? Let's go ahead and discuss. But if you are new here, welcome on into the channel, people. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. Simply because the clock has struck zero on 2023 does not mean we will stop making content in and out throughout 2024. Live shows planned ahead. We're recapping last season, looking ahead to this season, going back and seeing the ugly predictions I made, and a bunch of other nonsense. So if this is your daily dose of college football content you need to survive, might I suggest you hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me where you think Julian Sayin straps it up for 2024. Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, your best of bros, the drunk dude passed out in a Buc-ee's parking lot, and college football aficionado fans everywhere about this channel, because we're on the race to become the number one YouTube show talking about our favorite sport. Go ahead and follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. That way, conversations around college football never have to stop flowing. Julian Sayin is now entering the transfer portal, and to me, this really doesn't come as that big of a shock. There's going to be people out there that will immediately go and see their jaws drop, and they'll be awestruck because Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb just had one of the most prolific offenses we've seen in a hot minute in college football. And Julian Sayin can learn from them. But Sayin committed to Alabama just like he committed to Nick Saban. One carries a little bit more weight. You commit to people. That is rule number one. That is the cardinal rule in the world of recruiting. You commit to people. And unfortunately, for a guy like Kalen DeBoer, he was streaming upstream with one paddle that was probably made out of plywood or even just styrofoam. He was never going to win this fight. But he did bring in Austin Mack. Austin Mack comes into the party. Well, now Julian Sayin is probably saying to himself, I'm even further down on the pecking order. I got to go ahead and do what's best for me. Because when you commit to somebody and they leave, you're not going to stick around for the long run if you don't feel like you're comfortable there. And so that's really where it comes to. Who are the front runners, though, to go ahead and land Sayin? Let's start off with an obvious one, and one that a lot of people are drawing attention to: Ohio State. Ohio State is putting on the pressure meter when it comes to working the transfer portal and transforming the Big Ten. They are doing everything in their power to basically close the lid, build as much steam as possible, and then when August 31st rolls around, fireworks skyrocket. Pressure is on in Columbus, and it has to be for Ryan Day. 3 consecutive losses to Michigan, 3 years where they haven't won a Big Ten title. They've been to a college football playoff, and they probably would have won the national championship if not for a missed field goal. But this is the year where it all has to come together. You lose J.J. McCarthy. You don't know the stats of Jim Harbaugh. Your roster is returning oodles of talent. It is a cascade of flowing veteranship just protruding all across Ohio Stadium. And you work the transfer portal in your favor. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Will Howard. You got the best running back in the country in Quinshon Judkins. And you got the number one player in the transfer portal in Caleb Downs. Pressure's on. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you also are looking to build for the future. This is a new era of college football, people. And so that means you're always 3 years ahead. A guy like Julian Sayin comes in, there's your immediate QB1 as soon as Howard's gone. A year to learn the offense from a guy that does understand quarterback play. Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, 2-time Heisman finalist and probably Offensive Rookie of the Year, future MVP CJ Stroud. All of them strapped it up in Columbus. All of them benefited from learning underneath Ryan Day. So he does have an understanding of relationships with quarterbacks. Here's the hesitation. You have 3 young quarterbacks already on the roster. Devin Brown, who is very unproven, but could end up being something special. Lincoln Kienholz, who I think that you're going to have that Garrett Gilbert taste in your mouth, because that is kind of the same feeling. Really wasn't prepared for the game against in the Cotton Bowl against Missouri. Unfortunately, that means that now he has a persona around him. And now you have Aaron Noland. With all of this talent, do you feel like that you're going to lose a quarterback in the process, especially very early on? Sayin was on campus in Tuscaloosa. He's not going back to San Diego to hang out in the offseason. He's going to his next school, and he will be enrolling. Do you feel like that Aaron Noland is going to enter the portal after spring practice? Do you feel like you're losing Lincoln Kienholz? And do you feel like that you'll be able to survive and sustain the same type of success if you were to turn to Sayin. Those are just some things that are going to be some big time deal breakers when it comes to the recruiting process. But there's a reason why you hear about these crystal balls or these shaken up predictions or these convoluting constructs, whatever you want to say. I'm just going to call it Thompson's time. My Thompson time prediction does not mean Ohio State. There's actually another school I'm going to put on this list. But yeah, there's a reason why he's getting mentioned to Ohio State. Number 2, USC. It's basically wash, rinse, repeat with what you know about Ohio State, except they have a trump card. It's closer to home. This happens for a lot of people. I went to college in Alabama, and I know I've mentioned this on the show multiple times. I went to college at the University of Alabama. I was very thankful for it, but I was 11 hours away. There were times throughout my freshman year, there were times throughout really my entire college career, I want to go home. I miss my family. I miss my people. I miss my friends. I miss being able to go ahead and visit some people. I want to be closer to where it's just a hopscotch and a jump away for me to be able to see those that I want. And that's kind of probably where Julian Sayin is. He was away from home. He wasn't near campus. He wasn't near California. He was miles away. And now he has to make the decision. Am I okay being away from my family? Am I okay being away from everyone that I love? Am I okay not being around them? And if so, then you go anywhere. But if not, well, USC is going to be a front runner. They have done everything possible to fix their defense, especially when it comes to the coaching staff. D'Anton Lynn, Matt Entz, you brought over Doug Belk, you brought over some veteran defensive lineman coaches from the NFL, and the offense still is going to be potent. Miller Moss, I don't want to go ahead and fall into bowl syndrome category, and no one should ever do that, but Moss has shown you that he is ready to take over the reins as QB1 in place of Caleb Williams. Does that mean that Sayin can take over as now QB2 waiting in the wings to when Miller Moss wants to go pro? There you go. Offensive understanding. You're built. You're ready. And Lincoln Riley also is a lot like a guy such as Ryan Day when it comes to building from within and understanding the quarterback position. Let's see. His laundry list includes Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. You also got to throw in Caleb Williams now. 3 Heisman Trophy winners, and you also had a Heisman finalist. I think that you would want to go learn and play underneath him. So if Sayin does think that that's the best thing for him, kind of like the saying on the back of my sign, then there you go. Go for it. I think it makes a lot of sense. They're trying to be players for the long run in the Big Ten. It's still a big-time brand, and also it's closer to home to where mom and pop get to go ahead and schlep it on up to Los Angeles to see you play when you're at home. So there you go. I think that's another one. I think that there's a wild card in this race. But before we get to the wild card, I want to give my final actual prediction. It's interesting because of a lot of people are going to say Georgia belongs in the mix. And I would completely understand why you think Georgia belongs there, especially when knowing that Georgia is always trying to build for the long haul. And you could say Nebraska is also one of them. You know, they feel like that they like their quarterback situation with Dylan Raiola. But to me, I really look at a place that just is probably not getting the same amount of attention. If Florida State can go ahead and convince a guy like Julian Sayin to come on down, that might be the smartest thing a guy like Mike Norvell does. Because there, you have your quarterback for next season. You already know that you have your quarterback for next season with DJ Uiagalelei. Do you feel comfortable about your quarterback room going into 2025? A year where now you'll kind of have an understanding about what the college football playoff is all about. You'll have an understanding about how people are able to go ahead and land you and how you fit inside of the process as an ACC team. You'll have all that. And so now you have to capitalize. You capitalize with Julian Sayin, another name in the transfer portal, and yet another player who would benefit from seeing the been here, done that type of mantra. Players leave Tallahassee better prepared for the NFL after committing to the program via the portal. Is that the way that Julian Sayin views it? If Mike Norvell gets his hands on him, all hell breaks loose in the ACC. And honestly, if he's going to be there for the start of training, for the start of spring practice, it's very hard to say he won't at least have a conversation about being in the running to make it as QB1. My wild card team, they need quarterback help. They 100% need quarterback help, and they would love to be able to land a kid that would help them out in the now and potentially for the long haul. And especially for a staff that needs to make this hire right and get the right personnel. To me, it's UCLA. UCLA just lost Dante Moore to Oregon. He's going back to where he initially committed. You last season underachieved beyond belief. Yes, you got wins over USC to close out the year, but there were a lot of people that thought with this defense, headlined by D'Anton Lynn and Latu, and all the players that now are leaving LA, but really staying in LA because they're going with Lynn to the Trojans, This was a year where a lot of people thought that this should be the moment Kelly puts it all together. And if he doesn't, he's on the hot seat. There were rumors, there were speculations, there was conversations that maybe Kelly would be shown the door. He's back for another year. Well, being back for another year means that you have to uptick your entire offensive production. Nothing is slowing down for you because you're joining the Big Ten. You want to know how you do that? You make sure that you say to Sayin, you have a shot at being QB1. I think if they're going to be a player in this race, I think if they're going to be a dark horse, it wouldn't shock me, though, to see them come out at the very last second, just like we saw with Ohio State. Sometimes it's those that you think of 3 to 4 or 5 picks down the line, and you're like, really? They were in the running? They were there the entire time? Yeah, they were. And guess what? They got their guy. Those are the 4 teams that I would be monitoring for Julian Sayin. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, without question, has got to be USC. Number 3 is Florida State. And the wild card, UCLA. Someone's getting a number 1 quarterback recruit that probably transforms and transcends your team to at least 2 or 3 wins down the line. Maybe it's one of these schools that are jumping into a brand new conference to set the tone for a new era of college football. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.